This video is brought to you by the FarmerKlein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Lazy Acres Farm. But before that, this video is brought to you by Dirty Bird Farms and Farmer G. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Lazy Acres Farm can be found over at the FarmingSimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Let me read you a little bit of the description. Break out your big equipment. 18 large fields, 11 sell points, and 12 production chains offer many options. There is a water refill point at your starting farm. The starting farm is very large, central to the map, and houses all of your big machinery, as well as has all of your animal husbandries. This map includes a default seasonal growth and soil map. Let's go ahead and load in. We are going to use some mods we typically use when taking a look at maps. They are additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, field calculator, and precision farming. Now, I will tell you, if you load this map up in Start From Scratch or New Farmer mode, you will find, Start From Scratch or Farm Manager mode, you will find that the main starting farm is void of the farmhouse and the farm silo. But all of the other buildings that are here in New Farmer mode are also available in those alternate play modes. In addition, you do have your starting equipment in all play modes. In Farm Manager or Start From Scratch, you do not own any land. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. And as the description said, get ready for some large fields, because we've got some fairly large fields. You're going to see this map is composed of square or rectangular-ish fields exclusively, and many of them are going to be fairly easy to merge. We do have all the standard crop types available to us in the Farm Sim 22 on this map. And if we go ahead and take a look at our lands area, you'll see that the starting farmland ID 10, who's the main starting farm, and 2 fields. We also own what I would call the unbuyable area, just farmland ID 63. That can be bought for $0 if you are starting in any other play mode. Farmland 10 can be bought for, well, $798. Apparently. Pretty darn cheap. In addition, we have Farmland ID 18 as well as Farmland ID 20. They are also very cheap respectively, with 20 being $60 and 18 being $72. We have a bit of a forest here that we can buy also for $871. So you are not going to be wanting for much on this map with respect to farmland. Now, the fields, they are a little bit different of a story. And for that, let's go ahead and take a look at our field lease screen. Our farmland lease screen is going to show us all of the viable farmlands on the map, how large those farmlands are, if those farmlands include any field or fields, which they include, and how much is that farmland going to cost us. As you can see, the starting farmland in New Farmer mode is dirt cheap. Absolute bargain. So you're going to be able to pick those up for next to nothing in the alternate play modes. Plus, you already have all your starting machinery. Do you need much more than that? So let's go ahead and take a look here at our available farmlands. And then let's cross-reference that to the field calculator screen. This is going to show us all of the available fields on the map and how large the specific fields are. We can then cross-reference the field number with the farmland numbers in order to figure out how much it's going to cost to buy any one given field. Taking a look at our crop counter, we do have, as the description said, the base game crop counter available on this map. And if we take a look at our prices screen, you will see that we can indeed sell all of our base game crops that are available to us in Farm Sim 22. Many of these crops are available for sale at multiple sell points. In addition, we do have the ability to sell over our animal outputs of eggs, wool, and milk, as well as our silage, hay, straw, and grass. Taking a look down through our production chains, we also have the ability to sell all of the base game production items that are once again available to us in FS22. Now, one thing that we do not have the ability to do is we do not have the ability to buy bulk lime. So you will need to pick that up from the store or put your own lime buy point down. We do have multiple sell points, though, for stones. So if you do play with stones enabled, you will have plenty of options of get rid of those. Now, with respect to platinum expansion, we do not have the ability to sell any of the platinum expansion production items on this map without putting your own sell point down. And if you are so inclined to play with pumps and hoses, well, we do have the ability to sell our separated manure. Take a look at our starting fleet. It is all owned. None of it is leased. And it is all well maintained with 0 operating hours on it. We do have a pigsty, cow barn, chicken coop, sheep barn, and horse barn. So we have all of the animals already pre-placed at the starting farm. We do have contracts available on the map. And we start out by owning the biogas plant. And this map does not have any collectibles. Taking a look at our starting fleet, we start out with the Dutesfar 8280 TTV medium tractor, as well as then the Steiger Quadtrac 620, the Steiger Wheeled 620. Then we have a pair of Magnum Power Drive large tractors. We've got the New Holland the John Deere X9 1100 harvester. That is paired up then with the HD 50F grain header. We've got then our Krone Big X 1180 forage harvester. That is then paired up with the X-Collect 903 forage harvester header. And as you note, these are all mods. We're going to take a look at those here in a moment. We've got the Ropa Tiger 6X XL beet harvester. Then we're going to have the RRXL 9x45 beet header. Again, both of those are mods. We've got the Brune 4200 fertilizer and herbicide sprayer. We've got our 2017 pickup truck as well as the John Deere Gator. We have the Aperon 3401 wagon or trailer, as well as the Brantner TA 23071 Power Push Plus trailer. We have our Citan 15001C Cedar. Once again, that is a mod, as well as the John Deere 1775 NT planter. We've got the Breedal K165 fertilizer and lime spreader. Then we also have the Conga Slide GXT 1305P collector. So this one's set up as both a mower and a windrower, and the GFX 3605P front mower. We have the Podger Hit 1618T tedder, as well as the GA 15131 windrower. We have the Shuttle 490S forage wagon. We have a Case LB 436 HD baler that is also modded. And then we have for header trails the Nardi N60B45 and the RRXL 945 trailer. Now, we've already talked about mods and DLCs. This map includes quite a bit of modified equipment. And just like another map that has released recently, this map is by TNTmodding. So we're going to go with this as kind of being the TNT modded vehicle and equipment pack. We've got a universal bucket with much larger storage capacity, as well as the Brantner trailer and Aperon. They have modded storage capacities as well. We have the MKS32 liquid tanker that is set up for all of the liquids and a massive storage capacity. We have a set of Load King semi-trailers in the Distinction Super B lead and pull trailer, also with modified capacities, and the Distinction Super B trailer set, again with modified capacities. Our Cedar and planters, again, are set up with modified capacities on those. We've got the Breedal spreader, again, a modified capacity. High capacity on all this stuff, including the sprayer. We have harvester. Then we have a high capacity TMR mixer, as well as our forage wagon, a high capacity sugar beet harvester that is also set up for potatoes. We've got a higher capacity water tanker here. Another John Deere harvester, Krone Big X. We have our X-Collect header, as well as then our modified baler. Let's go ahead and take a little bit of a look around the farm. We've got our farmhouse here where we spawn in at. Of course, in farm management or start from scratch, this building is not available, so you will have to put your own down if you wish. Within this garage, we have our pickup truck and our gator. Coming around the back, we have our pond that was listed in the description. This is where we're going to be able to get our water from. And then as far as buildings here at the starting farm, this map is chocked full of base game buildings. So we have our base game pig area. We don't really need to go in details to think it's where those triggers are. 270 pigs in here. We have some vehicle storage over there. We have our base game cow area, 80 cows. We have a silage bunker. We have our chicken coop. 360 chickens. Around we have then our sheep area. We have our dudes far inside of there. $65 sheep. As you may have seen, we've got our large silo complex located right there. Some machinery under that easy shed. Some more machinery under that easy shed there in the trees. More machinery in here. We have our maintenance trigger. We have our horse pasture. 14 horses in here. And then a little bit of building. And that is pretty much the starting farm. Now, with respect to, can the farm be customized? The farm can be customized to a great deal. In fact, we can sell all the buildings. We can sell the farmhouse. We can sell the silo. The only thing we can't do is we can't get rid of this silage bunker. So this silage bunker is going to remain. I was not able to get rid of this. I don't really think it's that big of a deal where it is placed. It's kind of, unless you're going to come in here and take all of these trees out, really there's not much you're going to do there anyway. So we're not really going to deduct any points there with the fact that we can't sell anything, or we can't sell the silage bunker, because we can sell all of the other buildings. Now, one thing we did not take a look at, and let's just kind of jump back here and show that, would be our precision farming soil map. This map is making use of the US-based soil map. And you can see how that is being applied here to these fields, where our starting fields, fields 10 and 11, are a mix of silty clay, loam, and loamy sand for 10, and silty clay and sandy loam for 11. This map has 12 production items built in, as the description said. We own the BGA at the start. We also have a bakery, carpentry, cereal mill, dairy, oil mill, grape processing, a spinnery. We have 2 granaries. We have a sugar mill and a sawmill. Now what you're going to find is the majority of this map is fairly flat. There are some subtle rolling undulations on the fields, but predominantly this map is fairly flat. Also, as you can see from the PDA, the entirety of the exterior of the map, the border areas of the map on all 4 sides, are going to be where you're going to find your sell points and production points. The entirety of the interior, for the most part, has been reserved for the farm and the fields themselves. The only kind of real exception to that with respect to the perimeter is this sell point coming up here. So we have a grain sell point below. We have another grain sell point below there. We have our oil mill off in the distance there. We'll take a closer look at that during the drive around portion. Coming up here, we have our BGA to the left, and to the right, we have yet another grain sell point. I did try to sell the BGA, and I was successful in selling the BGA. So if you want to get rid of this one and put your own down, you are perfectly able to do that. What you can't do is get rid of the 3-sided silage bunker. So kind of plan your new BGA out around that. Here we have our sugar mill. Just north of field 7. We're going to find that we have our, I believe it's our carpentry. Now we have our spinnery and our grape processing. Coming up, we have two things going on here. We have a sell point and a grain mill production point. And this is one thing that I want to make sure I point out to you guys. So on the right here, that is a sell point trigger. The grain mill, as far as the production unload trigger, while it's not marked, is inside of here. So this is going to be where you're going to unload for grain mill production. This is where you're going to unload with respect to selling grain at this facility. Don't mix them up because you're going to be very, very frustrated when you lose a bunch of your grain. We have our interactive icon, our pallet spawn point. Our second grain mill is located right below here. Both of them here are on the north side of the map. And that grain mill is one of the base game appearing grain mills. As we kind of move around to the western edge of the map, you'll see how these fields have some slight rolling nature to them, but are also very easily merged together. If you want to go with some massive field, well, I really don't think you're going to have too much problem merging 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 into one huge field. We have another grain sell point below. Here we have our carpentry. We have our vehicle shop to the right. We've got some sell points over here to the left. We have a grocery, Mama Joe's Diner, our bakery. We have our gas station, our dairy. It's a bowling alley. We've got the farmer's market. We have our cereal factory, our animal dealer. And then down here, south of Field 18, we have our sawmill. As well as a biomass heating plant. Let's just kind of loop back here over to our vehicle shop. With respect to our point system, we are going to give the map a full point with respect to having production built in or areas set aside for such. We're also going to be giving the map a full point with the ability to sell our base game crops, production items, and animal outputs. I'm going to be giving the map a full point also with respect to can the farms be customized. Even though we cannot sell the BGA bunker at the main farm, I think that it is placed in such a point where it really isn't going to matter too terrible much. Let's go ahead and get our Mahindra, and then we'll drive around the perimeter and check out the various production and sell points in a little bit more detail. Vehicle spawn point is in here. Looks like we're going to be able to spawn a fair bit of machinery in here. Fair sized area also for those spawns. Over here we have our workshop or dealer trigger. So we can buy, sell, trade, repaint, and such. Now we don't have trigger markers, but I will tell you that the dealer trigger is basically in front of this roll down door between that and this floating icon. Across the street from the dealer, we have our restaurant sell point, Mama Joe's Diner. We have our base game bakery, house spawn point, dump point, and of course our interactive icon around the front door, as we have kind of grown to expect these days. Down here at the receiving dock, we have our sell point for the grocery. We have our carpentry, and all fairly standard interactive icon here. Pallet spawn point, our plank drop off and wood drop off point over here. at the receiving door. This entire complex is a grain sell point, and its dump station is right here. Since we can buy this land, or we do own this land as a start, we've got a bit of an area there we can put additional things down. Oh, we got a little bit of a floaty building, I see. That's okay. Let's double back a little bit, and we're going to be making a loop around the map in a counterclockwise direction. On our left, we have our fuel points. On our right, we have our dairy. So we have our spawn point for our pallets. We have our dump point for our milk. And at the front door, we have our interactive icon. Across the street, we have ourselves our farmer's market with our 2 sell points. One for grain, one for pallets. On the left, we have our cereals factory. Dump point, interactive icon, and a pallet spawn point. Across the street from that, we have our animal dealer. So if you wish to transport your animals, come by here and pick them up. We also then have our bale sell point over here, as well as for separated manure. Now, this map should also play fairly well on lighter end systems, lower powered systems, especially when you're out there in the fields, because there's not a whole lot to be rendering within kind of a direct point of view. It's maps like this where Farm Sim's new rendering techniques of only rendering what is visibly seen as opposed to rendering a 360-degree bubble around you really comes to play. We have a sawmill. So wood cell trigger, dump point for that. We then have our wood chips. Our interactive icon and our plank spawn point over here. Just up the road. Then we have our biomass heating plant for selling of logs and wood chips. Kind of like that back-end facility. As we make our way over to the oil mill, I'll tell you that the 2 grain mills that are on the map, while they have slightly different recipes, where it looks like one has a lot more cycles per month but produces less per cycle, the other one has less cycles but produces more per cycle. Mathematically, they work out to being equivalent to each other as far as outputs go. We have our oversized oil mill building, and for this, all the items are on this side. We have our spawn point, dump point, and interactive point. With respect to buildings where appropriate are using the new texturing technique, as well as ground textures and such. While I did not show you necessarily the build mode, I can tell you that pretty much there isn't anything custom available in the build mode. Buildings, decorative items, ground textures, all fairly standard items here. So this building, very, very similar. In fact, it's the same setup as the building where we have both the grain sell point and the grain mill. You're going to find the grain sell point here is once again outside. And unlike the grain mill, where we had a dump grate in here, we do not have such a dump grate in here. So this is only a grain sell point. Now, just up the street and to the left, we're going to find another grain sell point, exactly like the one we just left. That is right over there. Look familiar at all? Just like what we just left, and just like where we left, the dump grate is outside, and there is no dump grate inside, because again, this is only a sell point. The grass must be wet. I found out. So we have our BGA. Here we have our dump point. So a fill point for digestate. We have a dump point for slurry. We have our digester. A large three-sided silage bunker. Again, we can sell the BGA itself. Here we have another grain sell point. And we are literally right at the map's edge. So there we have that. Overall, I mean, driving big machinery around the road, some of these buildings here are fairly close to the road. But overall, I think the trees somewhat pulled back, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Here we have our grain mill. Sorry, sugar mill. So we're at dump point. Pallet spawn point and interactive icon are going to be on the other end. Over here. At the door. And now we just have the items across the... Just a quick recovery. Just a quick recovery. You didn't see anything. Going across the top of the map, we have our spinnery. As well as our grape processing facility. So we have an interactive icon. We have our dump and pallet spawn point. The rest of the buildings here are just decorative. We have our grape processing facility. All base game items. Then, as I mentioned in the fly around portion of the video, here we're coming up to a dual-purposed facility. It looks just like all of the other grain sell points, and overall it is a grain sell point right here through there. But if you wish to use this as a grain mill, you can. The pallet point and the interactive point are over there. And the dump point for the grain mill is inside, right there. So as we've seen with all of the other sell points that look like that, there is no grate inside. But here we have a grate, and that is where the unload point is for the grain mill. Now we have a second grain mill on the map, and as I said, if you own both of these, you will see that the production chains, recipes, and such look different, but mathematically they equate out to the same amount of production per month. So we have our pallet spawn point, unload point, and interactive icon there. So guys, that leaves us with one final scoring metric, and that is player and interactive areas being clearly marked. I'm going to take 1/4 point off for two specific things. One, I really like to see corner markers at the dealer showing the dealer maintenance trigger area. That way people know where they need to position their vehicles and implements in order to use the dealer trigger. That area was not marked off with the little corner icons. And also, I feel that having the dual purpose grain sell point as well as grain mill is maybe a little confusing, especially given the fact that we do not have the floaty blue icon inside to represent the unload point at the grain mill. So I would like to maybe see that separated a little bit more distinct as to exactly which one is for what. Maybe signage, right? Basically saying production inside, you know, direct sales outside. That would help as well. So we're going to give the map 3/4 point there. That is going to give this map a total score of 4.75 out of 5. Very respectable score overall. Let me know your all's thoughts in the comments down below. Is this a map you're looking forward to playing? Are you into these types of maps with large square fields? Kind of the typical, air quotes, typical North American map, the American map. Are you into this modded machinery with kind of unrealistic working speeds, unrealistic storage capacities, and such? It's not my cup of tea, but then again, that's fine. That's fine. If it's your cup of tea, that's great. There is a map for everyone, but every map isn't for everyone as well. And until next time, happy farming.